morning, everybody. Today is our first day.
Yeah.
We are bringing this new podcast or YouTube, Building the Dream. Chris?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. We're excited. Obviously, we're just playing this by ear. We're going to be doing a lot of cuts. We're just here to have a good time, here to talk about everyday life, what's brought us from where we were at to where we're at today. And so we're blessed to be able to have everybody in the room. John, Jorge Jr.,
Yes.
all of us here, and we all play a critical role in our companies, and we all have our own journey, and we're all building our own dream, and I think that's why we're here today. So if you don't mind, let's go down the list and introduce yourself, who you are.
Well, I think we should go ladies first.
Absolutely.
Yeah, ladies first.
Can you hear her?
Okay. All right, Tanya.
Hi, my name is Tanya, and I work with the Foster Company.
Yep.
And I'm actually really new to the whole industry, but I'm very excited to learn. I think I have the best teacher here.
Absolutely.
So I'm just learning a lot, and I'm very excited. So
We're excited to have you part of the team.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
John.
My name is John Garcia. I am a full-time loan officer. I work with George and George. Our loan company is called First Premium Financial, and we have been doing this a bit over a year and a half now. But I'm loving it. I love the journey that I'm on. I love the people that I work with. It's truly a blessing to be here. So thank you guys for inviting me.
My name is George Allinger. I'm a realtor here in the city of Whittier. I've been in business for been licensed for about 10 years, but consistently doing real estate for about 6. And it's something that I really love. I have a lot of passion towards. And just helping families.
George Almaguer or Jorge, whichever one anybody chooses to call me.
Are you a senior?
I'm the senior, yes.
Okay,
Well,
is he really a junior or not?
no, he's not a junior. So
Okay,
my name is spelled with a J. Jorge,
okay.
his
Yours
name
G?
is George. G.
Oh.
Yeah, so when he was born, we're like, well, let's have an American kid.
I got
even though I'm born in the States, I got the Hispanic name. But so everybody calls me Jorge George my whole entire life. So when everybody asks me, like, what do you prefer to be called? I always tell them, whatever's easier for you. Because I'm used to both directions.
Yeah, I struggled with that part.
Yeah. So I've been in the industry 22 years. I started as a real estate agent, then kind of got into loans, and then I did both for a while, and then I ended up just hitting loans full time. Chris, we survived the 2008 crash.
Absolutely.
It's been a huge learning experience. Mm-hmm. Bringing this kind of just same thing, building the dream, kind of like financial freedom, helping people along the journey, helping agents, meeting great people. I mean, because of this industry we met, right, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a mayor of Whittier.
Yeah.
Walks into my office one day. He walks into my office one day, just decides to come in about 4 or 5 years ago?
6, 7 years ago.
6, 7 years ago. He walks in and just says hi to us, and since then we've just been pretty close.
Yeah, we're very similar people.
Yeah,
very similar people. And we're excited to have this YouTube. We've been talking about it. We talk about it all the time. I always tell people, obviously we'll get into everybody's journey eventually, but I always tell people like when we get in the elevator, I'll know everything about your whole life by the time I get out of the elevator.
That's true. Chris is not shy.
No.
Everybody says that.
No.
So, and it's interesting because you're able to capture someone's whole life within 30 seconds. And unfortunately or fortunately make judgments about people, but build that relationship with people. And I love that. And that's been my going out and talking to businesses and seeing their journey and hearing about it. And then when talking to George and him coming up with these topics all on his own, didn't even say, George, what do you want to do? It just fit. It fit what I know our vision is. But my name's Chris Foster, and I'm the owner of the Foster Company. I've been in this business since 1999. I have a finance degree out of Humboldt State University. And this industry fell in my lap. I had a child, and this is the only thing that allowed me to get some financial freedom and some freedom in general to be able to do this from anywhere. And so I've been in this business since, and like he said, survived the debacle in 07, 08, 09. It was scary. Didn't know what was going to happen. Blessed to meet them. Like he said, 6, 7 years ago, we just walk in, start talking, and now we feel like best friends. We feel like family. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm always busy, and so I never attend any of their events, but hopefully that'll change soon.
But that's okay, because even when you get busy, Chris, it's funny because we may not see Chris for a week or 2 weeks or a month.
Yeah.
But as soon as we talk, it's like
nothing.
when we left out. We understand.
Yeah.
We understand. We all have busy lives, but at the same time, we share the same dream. We just leave wherever we left off. We pick up.
Yeah.
We pick up, and you're right. I mean, it's about building relationships because that's how we first started. Because we never did business for a while.
Never.
But we just built a solid relationship.
Yep.
You know, we talked about family. We talked about our businesses. And it's been a fun journey together. I mean, we've had little challenges. We've shared with each other our challenges, and it's fun. And we also have fun with it too.
Yeah, we have a great time.
I mean, you come into our office or go to Chris's office, you're gonna get bagged on.
Yes.
100%, right?
Yes.
So just be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared. Like we just met Tanya, and
Yes.
do we give you any type of sympathy?
No.
No.
No,
not at all.
no. And she doesn't need it. I'll message her something, or I'll post something on Instagram or comment, and then right away we're waiting for you, George, to come over here.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. It's been a pleasure meeting you. You know, it's this industry. I've learned that it gets you closer to a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of different people, and it just helps you kind of understand more of the industry of every businesses. It's great. It's great meeting you.
No, and it's true because some way somehow when you really meet a lot of people, and I think you would agree, Chris. We learn something from everybody. We learn, and if you continue learning, you stay humble, you continue learning. It doesn't matter what level somebody's at. You're going to learn one thing from everybody. Right. Even like I'll learn things from John. I learned things from George. But we end up constantly always learning, and I think that if you continue learning and building a relationship, you're going to grow as an individual.
Correct.
Right, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Talk to us. What's up with you?
I feel like it's pretty inevitable, like, building these really good relationships with your clients too, because in this industry you're helping them with one of their biggest decisions too, right? So you're kind of like forced to really get to know them personally, kind of like coach them through, kind of reassure them and stuff like that. So initially when I first started the business, he kind of had to push me into it because I was used to working at warehouses and stuff like that, so I was never to sales. And so
I don't think push is the word. I think thrown in
there.
Because he had no choice.
and so initially I always thought, like, in sales, you got to sell things to people. And I was like, I don't like to do that. I don't want to try to sell something to them. And then once he came in, he's like, you don't have to do that. The houses pretty much sell themselves. Just help and guide people through the whole process and help them understand everything so they're at ease, And so once I changed my perspective to that view, then it was just a piece of cake from there. I've been loving it, so.
You've been licensed 10 years.
Probably longer. I think 23 I got licensed, and then 35 now. So it's been, but I did it when I initially.
In 2013 you got licensed or no?
No,
before that.
20. It's been.
I was 24.
Yeah,
like
24.
2014.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, so maybe
yeah.
about 11. Maybe about 11 years.
Yeah.
But he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He didn't do.
Yeah,
anything.
when I initially came into it, I'm like, man, I just was overthinking everything. I'm like, I have tattoos. People aren't gonna really respect me. They're not gonna take me seriously. So I shied away from it.
You had saggy pants.
Well, you know what's funny is that you saying that because you say a couple things. You said, my dad pushed me into it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we have children. I have young children. Tanya has young children. I'm not sure if you have any children, but
his bachelor party's next.
It's
He's trying to push it on me.
And it's like we want to guide our children, but it's almost like we have to throw them into it. Daughters getting a business degree, and I'm like, I need you out. During your break, you need to come, and I'm trying to push, and you trying to find the balance as a parent. Number one, number two, you said an important thing is you weren't sure if the industry was going to accept you with your tattoos, and we have those conversations with our kids. Don't get any tattoos because people are going to make these judgments, and then we see successful people like you, and it don't mean a goddamn thing.
Not only that, what helped a lot is social media. Seeing that there's others that are doing it the same way, it's like that's very encouraging. So that too.
It gave you that confidence, like
yeah.
I can go out there and do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like he's not being judged. He's big. He's doing good. So
would you tell a kid to just go ahead and get lots of tattoos?
I
want to know because our sons want to do
I would
that.
say just put some thoughts into your tattoos.
Okay.
A lot of my tattoos I got at 8, like literally as soon as I turned 18. honestly, within the first 2 years, I went crazy and just got all my sleep.
Yeah, tell them why.
I just got images that I thought were cool. Why?
Oh.
Because
Why?
I saw him with tattoos growing up. As
Wait. No, oh man, you want to be rebellious. You want to be
I was
rebellious.
rebellious.
I like that. So they put some thoughts into it. If you're gonna do it, make sure some thoughts.
They have to
You
mean
don't make-
something. I believe. Yeah.
I mean, luckily they're nice tattoos, but it's just I wish there were a little more like meaning behind it.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
I
I mean,
got
there's a realtor up north, and his Instagram is based off the fact that he's fully tattooed.
Wow.
And his handle has something to do with tattoos. And I mean, he has quite a bit of followers. I know that he works with one of the EXP offices.
Okay.
And I mean, he seems to be
I know
really
who you are. Yeah,
pulling
I
it
think I know
through.
who
You
that
know,
is.
so. I don't know. I guess today
Times are
that
changing.
times are changing.
Yeah.
It's
We're-
acceptable.
Well, I
we're-
think
It's okay.
in today's times, people view tattoos different.
Hmm.
You know, I'll give you an example. Like my wife. Nobody ever thought in her family she would ever get a tattoo. She's got a couple, and you know, she enjoys.
See, you
it.
influenced.
No.
his
Yeah,
wife.
yeah, I do influence my wife, yeah. You know, and at first I was a little skeptical. No, you know, and as she's got, I'm like, okay, cool, you know, and so it is acceptable in today's time.
Yeah.
It is acceptable.
Dang, so I can't use that old school mentality on the kids.
No,
anymore.
no. You know, one of the things I think as a parent, because you and I have adult kids.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mentally, you know, physically adult.
Yeah.
Mentally, I don't know. But but I think a lot of times you have to let them make mistakes.
Okay.
You have to let them make mistakes. You have to let them fall on their face.
Experience is the best teacher.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agree.
I mean, I was very hard headed. So growing up, I got into a lot of trouble. And I know a lot of things when I go back and think about it. He kind of like warned me about, but I was like, let me see if that's right. Let me see if that's true.
I wonder if it's more of a boy thing or a girl thing. I wonder if girls,
Really?
you know.
I think it's
Is it?
I don't think
both.
it
It
matters.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But
I think it's just an individual's thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no tattoos. I've never had the desire to get something on me that I'm like, man, that's what I want for the rest of my life, and that's okay. I mean, I think you want them, you don't want them, and it shouldn't be a judgment on one person. There's much more that builds a person,
Yeah.
character. I mean, you know, so
Yeah.
it just kind of is what it is. And today, I don't think there's guys have more tattoos, girls have more tattoos. I
You
think
know, it's weird though. I mean, I never thought my tattoo out. I was playing college football, and I played with 90% of our team were Samoans, and they all had these big old tribal bands on
which
their
are really
arms.
nice. Yeah.
Right, you know, and after a long night of drinking at 5:00 in the morning, I have a band on my arm, you know. But I made sure I got it on my left arm, so that I always said that when I would come home and my mom would be in the passenger seat, if she did that, she wouldn't find anything. Right?
Yeah.
You're so
Well,
that was-
yeah, it's funny. Here's the thing. It's funny that you just said that, right? I didn't. My mom didn't realize we had tattoos. Like my brother and I got tattoos at a very.
Oh, you really do? He wasn't playing.
No, it wasn't playing. Yeah, I got.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I had
yeah.
tattoos.
Okay.
We hid it from our mom.
Yeah.
For years. I think
Wow.
I got mine at 18. I think my mom saw it when I was like 23, 24 because we were afraid of her. Yeah, we were really. I remember one time I was wearing a muscle shirt and my mom shows up in the driveway and I just run into the house and put a shirt on. And my friends are like, "Where you going?" And my own home, right? And my friends are like, "Dude, where you going?" He goes, "Dude, my mom doesn't know I have tattoos," and they were laughing at me. But it was that fear.
Yeah.
It was that fear, you know. And of course, you know, she got upset. She sees him and she's like, "I mean,
Yes,
and I'm like,
yes.
I'm like, you would have killed me.
Yes.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, I don't like
You
them.
eased it for me.
Yeah, but you know, now they don't. You know, it's totally different.
Well, I want to hear a little bit about what you guys do and how you got in the business, how you know the business is going. We want to hear
So
what's
my
talk to us.
story. So, and I share the story. So, all the time. I never thought I was gonna have a business. Never thought I was gonna be self-employed. So in '98, we bought our first home, and so I reached out to my brother and I said, "Hey, now that I got my home, I need to get some sort of life insurance." Because, and the reason behind that is that when we were growing up, our dad died at 5 years. I was 5 years old. My brother was 4. My older brother, I think, was like 8 years old. So our whole entire lives, we've always financially struggled. Whole entire life. You know, my dad passed away. He was the breadwinner. He had his business. So my mom's always had 2 jobs, multi-level marketing. We kind of grew up out in the street. So I didn't want the same for them.
I got you.
You know, so I said, okay, if anything ever happens to me or my wife at the time, there's got to be some sort of financial stability for them.
Gotcha.
So he introduced me to a good buddy of mine, which is still to this day my friend. He actually has an office right down the street, Primerica, Martin Flores.
Oh.
And so I said, okay, cool, we got life insurance. And I was young. We're going to get life insurance. And back then, you know, I had no clue about multi-level marketing. So he's hounding me, George, you got to come to the meetings. You got to come here. You got to come to these meetings. And I was like, dude, I'm not going to give him my weekends because I ride bikes. And he goes, you got to come out here. And he literally hounded me for about 2 months. And he got me to go to one of their, what they called back then, op nights, right? Op nights.
Big old kinds of people.
Big old thing. And so I went, and they started talking about the opportunity, business, and all that. And I still kind of was like, yo, Chris, thank you. I was still kind of like, you know, I'll go.
I'm okay, thank you.
Because I was a big pushover back then, right? I was like, all right, cool, I'll go. Mm-hmm. So that was like during the week. Then he convinced me to go on a weekend for the training. And so then I started going, and little by little, I started kind of hearing the message. By the way, back in that time, I guess the guy I worked for, he's a big guy in Primerica. Like his line was Hector Lamarck. And so every time I'd hear this guy speak, Hector Lamarck, it was like, wow, like this guy, it's like an Ed Milet, you know, kind of like one of those
got
big,
to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when I started hearing him speak, I started getting really enrolled in all that. And so the first book I ever got was from Martin, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so people can say, oh, you got brainwashed, but look where I'm at today.
Yeah.
It was a good thing. So I joined Primerica, I got my life license, I worked for about 6 months. You know, I already had that mentality like, okay, I'm not going to stay at DMV. Yeah. I'm going to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something. So I went from Primerica, I started doing multiple multi-level marketing because that's all I knew at the time, right? So I did, I think like Melaleuca, I did some sort of phone service or utility bills. I did all this, and we used to do the meetings at a friend's office. Dave Jervis, he worked for Jervis and Associates.
Yeah, Downey.
Yeah, he's a Jervis family.
Well.
And we used to do the. He would let us use his office, not the Jervis and Associates, but he was already broken off and he had his own little office. And he approaches me, he goes, George, why are you doing all this? I'm like, Dave, I want to have a business. He goes, well, get into real estate.
Absolutely.
I said, okay,
absolutely,
get into real estate. Now, part of the business too was I also wanted a Harley. You know, so
tattoos, a Harley.
You know,
what are you getting to?
I know.
So the price, my influence, you see all the influence around me?
Oh yeah, but look where he's at now, right? Yeah, good influence. Yeah. So he got me into real estate. He paid for my courses, got me into real estate, and I got licensed in July of 2000. Now, with Primerica, if you know the multi-level marketing, they tell you make a list of everybody you know and start calling people. So I had already a list. I had a list of a bunch of people. I've always been somebody I guess keeps in contact with everybody. So in my entire life, I had 3 major jobs. My entire life. I worked at Ideal Textiles for 5 years. I drove school buses for 5 years, and then I worked at DMV for 7 years.
Well diversified there, buddy.
You know, but to this day, today I still have my contact is those 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when I had to build that list, I've had that list. Mm-hmm. To this day, I still have that list plus more. Mm-hmm. So when I got into real estate, as soon as I got into there, I started sending mail outs, and so by the end of 2000, I closed 4 deals.
Real estate, selling homes.
Real estate
buying
sales,
homes. Gotcha.
You know. And so for being a part-time agent, I started doing very well.
Yeah, you tasted that money.
I got a taste of it, and it was like, wow, I actually did build my Harley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I built my Harley. So that's how I got into it. And in 2003, right, it was the first quarter of the year, and so I worked for a small company. I worked for Jervis and Associates for a while, and then from there I transferred to a small mom and pop company, Furstenberg Realty, worked for them. And so I used to have to drive to Diamond Bar, and I remember I didn't pick up a whole month of checks. Our broker would leave it in her box, and I didn't pick up my checks. I went roughly like March, and I picked up, I think it was like maybe 5 checks. And we're barely in the first quarter of 2003. And I saw my checks, and I said, wow, this is what I make at DMV the whole year. Like, this is a lot of money, you know, back then. And so it took me a while. I kind of used all my sick pays at DMV thinking, should I leave or should I not leave? And should I leave or should I not leave? You know, and sure enough, I went and I gave my letter of resignation. My manager tried to convince me to get a leave of absence. Mm-hmm. But I already had the Primerica mentality. Either you're on it or you're not. That's right. I didn't want a safety net. You know, and I remember I called Martin too. I go, hey, Martin, I go, dude, I think, you know, it's like, how did you feel when you left? Because he used to work at Frito-Lay. He goes, George, it was scary, but he told me the same thing. He goes, I didn't want a safety net. I just left and never looked back. So I did the same thing. I left April 16th of 2003. You know, and
when did you just go all loans? Because a lot of people, either real estate or loans, or you can do both, right? When did you just go all loans?
I think I did loans, like all loans, maybe about 5 or 6. Wait, so I went all loans when he started doing real estate.
Oh, 2014.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got to the point where it's like, I have a good referral base. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, literally, I wanted to do 2 things. I wanted to be in the office for my people, and then I just, you know, and I just wanted to focus on loans. So then that's where, you know, where he came in, and I said, hey.
Oh, he could handle your real estate.
I'm not going to do real estate anymore.
Smart.
I'm not going to do real estate. You know, there's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And like you said, I threw him in.
Yeah.
You know,
like, go.
I didn't hold him by the hand, dude. I was getting yelled at by agents, clients, like not knowing what I was doing. But you know what?
Trial by fire.
It forced me to learn.
Trial by fire.
Well, and see, here's the thing.
What I tell her.
And I don't know, you may agree with this, Chris, because I chew both of these guys out. I just chewed him out a couple days ago. Yeah, I chewed him out yesterday.
Really like that. I don't believe in that style, but go ahead.
Please teach him something new.
I'm just like that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, even Lewis, you know, Lewis, the guy that's doing our podcast. What did I tell you today, Lewis?
What'd you tell him?
Because I called his phone and he doesn't have his voicemail going. And what did I tell you?
You gotta get the voicemail going.
Yeah, it's good
exactly,
mentors. Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and the people, and I realized one thing in this business: if you don't get chewed out by somebody, that mentor doesn't care about you,
right.
and it's not really chewing out; it's calling you on stuff, you know. So, but one thing I learned about this generation is they overthink everything, Chris. They're afraid to take a lot of times just take plunges. You and I, we're cut from the same cloth. Yeah. We jump into things and we don't think twice about it, like this, right? Look what we're doing today.
Yeah, we take a lot of risk all the time.
You know,
sometimes too much.
Exactly, But if we didn't take the risk, for example, let's just say we jump into 20 things. Yeah. You know we're going to at least be successful at 10 to 13 stuff, right? So if we lose on seven items, we still won over
Absolutely.
Here. You know, and teaching them to do that, like, hey, just take the risk. Sometimes I feel like this generation is like, well, what if I make a mistake or what? So what? How many mistakes have we made?
Oh man,
Chris, we make mistakes all the time,
all day long, to this day.
And those mistakes, how much money have they cost us?
A ton
of money. Now, we're human.
$1 million minimum.
We'll jump into things, and in the back, I'm sure you're nervous when you jump into something.
Absolutely.
Right? So am I.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah. But that's where I'm at today.
Okay.
I jumped into loans.
What separates so from a lending perspective? Obviously, you guys are. You know, I talk to a lot of residential loan companies. Not everybody is like you and how you run business, and you guys have a well-oiled machine there, in my opinion, right? What separates you guys from the other million freaking loan agents out to loan officers? Talk to us, all your guys, because they're all solid.
You know the one thing that we're really focused on is our customer relationship.
So they're not a number. They're
customer
people.
Service. They're not. Look, if we get a customer, despite of how financially you're struggling, doesn't matter. You could be financially struggling, you could be broke, but if that loan does not benefit the client, we're gonna back out.
Oh yeah.
And that's the office. That's our office thing. Yeah. We're truthful to our clients. Whether we could be almost homeless, but if that client and that loan does not benefit the client, we're going to be honest with
So you guys just lend in California? You guys just lend in California or no?
Just in California.
Yeah?
California.
Yeah. Just in California.
For now.
If someone's domiciled here, so they live here, can you do a loan if they outside of California?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. Right. If it's a non-QM loan, and they want to do, let's say, a non-owner occupied, and they're going to go with a DCSR non-owner, if our lenders are approved in that state, we could lend them. We could do that there.
And what made you get in the business, John? Because I know you're relatively 2 years, I think, right?
Yeah, I've had my real estate license since 2018. I tried giving it a go part-time. Had a couple of deals, really wasn't gaining traction. I did focus on my mailers, and so I was able to create a list early on, but I just wasn't clicking, and I now know why that was. I needed to, for me, you know, and I think it depends on the person, but for me, I needed to take that all in and go in full, be in the office every day, learning every day, not only learning through my files, but learning through other people's files, because that I think is something that's so important with our office and why we're able to provide such great services, because we're in there and we throw out a problem, all of us turn around and we're brainstorming.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, what do we do? How do you attack it? What can we do better?
Yeah.
And
it's a great model.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. You know, I'll be a part of Facebook groups where for new loan officers, and a lot of them, they'll say they're struggling, they can't gain business, and then that they're looking for a new company, but they want to work remote. A year, 2 years in the industry, and I'm like, how can you grow? Yeah, I mean, maybe someone can, and I'm not saying there's everything in this world, right?
COVID did that though, man. COVID did that.
It's not. I in my opinion, having lived it, that's not the way to go. Yeah. Being in the office, learning. So I got hit up by Jorge. In the office, we actually differentiate Big George and Georgie. But actually, who got me into real estate was Georgie.
Oh, so you guys are friends?
We've been friends since high school.
Oh, really?
Yes. I was best man at his wedding. We lived together. We're roommates. And I had lost my job, and I'm sitting at home, didn't know what to do. You know, I was not convinced with my current industry. I come from skilled nursing facilities on the medical side, and George told me, hey, you know,
let's go.
Get into real estate. You'd be great at it.
Let's go.
And right when I was getting the licensing going, I got another job, and that's what kept me part-time, and that's what kept me kind of in between.
Yeah, because this guy always talked about, like, I have this guy, I just can't get him to commit yet. And I was like, and then one day I come in and you're there.
George
must be him.
He hit me up and he's like, hey, what do you think about being a loan officer? And he started explaining to me. I started researching on it. And I thought, well, you know, that's kind of more my fit. And he's like, if you get licensed, and I mean now, like, jump on it. You got a job with me, and perfect. You could come in with me.
Nice. Jumped on it.
The idea was planted in February. Started going to his house every weekend. He would teach me how to work the point system, and by May I was fully licensed.
Cool.
So one thing after another, and now I'm here where every day I eat, sleep.
Yeah, do this.
Keep loans.
Where'd you guys go to high school?
El Rancho.
Oh, you guys are people boys, huh?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so I mean,
is that where you went?
No, I went to a lot of high schools. I got asked. Okay, just to clarify, I got asked to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't throw me out. They asked me, George, do you mind going to this high school over here?
Wow, that's interesting. I went to LaSalle High School in Sierra Madre, all boys school. I thought I was on a basketball scholarship, which they always led me to believe that I was on a basketball scholarship. So I went there playing basketball, played varsity my freshman year, and then my sophomore year also. And then they fired the athletic director and they fired the coach halfway into the season. And then my mom started getting letters from the school saying that you owe this for tuition, you owe that for tuition. Next thing you know, the bill was like $6,000. And, you know, my mom, single family home, I was raised in, 4 kids. I'm the youngest of the 4. My mom's like, what is this? We've never been paying for 2 years. And I obviously at the end of the year, they asked me to leave because we couldn't pay the bill that was there. So I ended up graduating from Rosemead High School.
Okay.
And my coach, who growing up was my mentor, who started looking at us from the 7th grade, 8th grade, he would always go to our games. I ran into him. I always kept in touch with him, but I never asked him. And then 27 or 20 years old, I asked him, hey, whatever happened? Like, he goes, Chris, Bill Fleckenstein was his name, William Fleckenstein. He says, Chris, I was paying your tuition to go there the whole time. And when they fired us, I said, screw this, I'm not going to be paying for your tuition to go there. But he never could tell anybody or never told us, right? And so to this day, the guy that I met there, actually Dr. Suarez, is my best friend. Is Dr. Suarez. I met him there. He's 1 year older than me. And I had to take the bus in an hour every day. You know, you're just like, you're with all these kids, you don't fit in, all these rich kids, where they come from, you know? And so I wasn't cut from that cloth, you know? So I ended up graduating from Rosemead High School, class of 93. So, yeah, that's kind of, you know, it's interesting to hear where we all came from, exactly. You know?
How did you get into commercial lending?
Yeah, all by mistake, you know? I have a business degree. For me, I was always around good mentors when I was a young kid. And they all happened to be my coaches. My mom always said that in order to keep me off the streets, because me being the youngest, my mom was always working. They couldn't keep track of me no matter what, right? And they said, to keep me off the streets, we're going to put you in sports. So 8 years old, they put me in tackle football. And as a kid, I was always looking for that father figure. Like, you didn't have no dad around ever, you know? And my coaches were always my father figure. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. They drank, they did, you know, all the stuff that they did when we were young, but they were always my mentors. And so, you know, mentor A, mentor B, mentor C, and then going into the 8th grade, my basketball coach, he owned a limousine company in Montebello. And he says, hey, you want to make some money? You're going to, every Saturday, you're going to have to come and wash all the limos. So I was in the 8th grade. My mom would drop me off, or I would get a ride there, and we'd wash all the limos. And then we'd be done, and I wanted to just want more. You want more? You tell me more. And so his name was Michael Milan, and one of my biggest mentors to this day. You know, 60-something years old. He's still to this day. But I said, hey, I need something else. Teach you something else. Start answering the phones then when you're done. You're going to be the dispatch. When calls come in, you're going to dispatch the limos. So I'm in the 8th grade, and I'm learning, and then I start, you know, learning the systems. And then, you know, my mom said that I always had it in me. She traces it back. She says in the 1984 Olympics, was here in LA, and they couldn't find me. She took us down there to go trade pins. We all traded pins back then, if you remember. My mom said they lost me in the crowd, and my mom was like, shit, where is he? And I was out trading pins with everybody, you know. And my mom, to this day, she tells me, she says, you know, one of the pins you traded was one very, very like exclusive pin. Oh, I went over there and I told you better go get that pin back, and I went and got that pin back. You know, and so I always had good mentors growing up. You know, I always, entrepreneurial wise, it was always in my brain. I ran I was 15 years old. I ran the car wash in Santa Fe Springs on Washington Boulevard. These guys that I knew that owned the limousine company, they owned a lot of real estate, very, very well connected in the Montebello area. They went and built a brand new car wash from the ground up, and I started working there. So I was around entrepreneurial people, you know. And then I started working around, you know, a famous singer, if you know, you probably know Juan Gabriel. My mentor was his manager, and I didn't know who he was. And so he would start taking me to Juan Gabriel's house, and then the music studios, and then Juan Gabriel had kids. They're not his kids, but they're his kids, right? And they told me, hey, your job when you're around all of us, you got to take care of his kids. And so you're going to take them to Disneyland, you're going to take them here, you're going to take them there. So again, I was around good mentors. And then, you know, but you're still on the streets, you're still doing bad things. And, you know, I don't remember 1994, my mom's, you know, I had the opportunity to go to college, and I left to Humboldt County. And my mom said she cried when I left, because it was either you're going to die or you're going to end up in jail from being on the streets, right? So went to college, played college football, 4 years up there, went to the JC first, played there, and then went to Humboldt State, played there. And was studied finance, and met my wife at the time, ex-wife now, and she got pregnant, had a kid, and she's like, who's gonna take care of the kid? And I had just got fired from my corporate job, corporate in finance in Irvine, a staffing company actually. They fired me, and so I said, I'll take care of the kid, but so I became a stay-at-home dad, and I could not just take care of a kid. I had to make money, so I tried to figure it out. I got my real estate license. Started selling homes while taking care of a kid, you know, full time. And one of the hardest things I've done is raising a child, you know, full time, like from 3 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And then, you know, the ex-wife would come home at that time, and I was like, man, you know, I didn't want to just sell homes. You know, it was okay because you're able to make money, but so you're selling homes. My good friend Oscar Chacon, whose daughter is on a full ride at Oregon for golf. She's ranked like number 8 in the United States. She's a stud. he says in 2006, he said, Foster, let's start a commercial finance company. Like let's do it. And so we started a company in Monterey Park called Funding Source LLC. We started just doing commercial loans. The debacle hit. We had a 5,000 square foot office like idiots and had to shut it down. And so he went off and did whatever he went on his own. I was doing commercial lending and just kept rolling with it. Building the base. So, and now what, we're here 14, 15 years later.
Those were tough times, Chris.
Yeah.
Those were tough because I had just opened up my office here in Whittier, because I come from Pico. I opened up here in 2007, September of 2007. March of 2008, dude, I was like, oh, everybody's leaving.
Yes.
And you had to be creative on, like, I literally let everything go in my personal life. I let cars go. I had a rental property. I was keeping the rents, not making the mortgage to pay the rent here.
Yeah, it happens.
And that was one property. When that one finally got foreclosed on, then I used the other one. It was bad. And then I started renting desk.
Yeah.
Because and then I would move around from place to place to place. I was just moving around. I would live sometime a couple of months with my mom. Then I would go get when we were doing short sales, and it was vacant. Hey, I'll rent that from you. I literally living in condos or houses that were vacant.
Yeah.
4 or 5 months. As soon as look for the next one. I did that from 2008 all the way. I think I became stable in 2011. Bouncing around. What saved me is that these kids were already adults. Because I don't know how I would have did it if they were minors. It would have been tough. Because I was a single dad. Yeah. But those are tough times, man. And I always, like, I see you, and I see anybody that survived that crash, a lot of respect.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of respect and I include myself, because a lot of us that I know just had to do all kinds of crazy stuff to survive that.
Is that crazy?
Right?
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. And I try to teach them, even though they weren't in the market. And we always talk about it at the office. People come in, Dave Forak comes in, and we always remind them what we went through in 2008. David Gomez, who's the other one? Robert Gomez. We all sit here and I try to educate them, like, hey, you guys got to be prepared, because you just never know when the market go turn for the worse.
Yeah, where is the market going? Where do you guys see it going? What do you see? What's going on with you? You do real estate, so you work with buyers, sellers. Talk to us.
With both. I mean, I want to say this last 2 years, I've been heavily on the seller side. And we got a lot more listings and never experienced that much. But it was nice to kind of see what's out there, the type of offers that come in. How you see a lot of agents out there that aren't really neat or clean with their work, But right now, I mean, it's consistent. It's not as crazy or as busy as it was these last 2 years, which is nice, because it was really ugly. It was very, I'd like to say it was unfair. You were at the mercy of the seller's terms.
Well, you were representing the sellers, so we're the mercy of your terms.
I had to keep up with the market. But,
Thank you.
But it's nice that we can finally start negotiating. People aren't overpaying for properties, removing contingencies or anything like that. So, kind of like the stability in the market right now. Yeah. And it's so far, at least for us, it's been not as busy, but it's consistent. Are
you down in business? Are you down a %? Have you been able to calculate, or you're not sure? You don't know.
I think the business side is really good.
No, it's good. I'm actually having a better year this year than what I had last year, I want to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's still
okay.
Consistent. It was a really busy first quarter, I want to say, and then after that, kind of balanced out.
Okay.
But,
what about for the loan side? What are you seeing? Because you do a lot. You guys work.
Yeah. Right? So no, we've to be honest with you, and I remember Chris Calderon came, and he goes, George, if anybody tells you that they're at, that their production, that they're lying. If anybody that's doing loans says that they're at 50%, under or over 50%, they're lying. Because our production's dropped about 50%, right?
Oh, the office, definitely.
And I don't know if anybody else there is doing, if their production had dropped, but I mean, because our refi market for the past 2.5 years was 90% of our business, 80%. I mean, we still get some refis, but because they're forced to refinance, either we have divorcees or paying somebody out, or people do want to take cash out to purchase. They're like, hey, you know what? I don't mind the higher, because we just did one right now, right?
Yes.
That's a guy's great credit, great LTV, but he wants to buy, so he's cashing out and he's okay with the high rate. he sees the value of buying property right now.
Oh wow.
But yeah, no, our loan side has dropped, and not only that, it has gotten challenging. Lenders are tightening up.
Absolutely, they have to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fannie Mae
Exactly.
tightened up
They
over the summer.
They learned the
Exactly.
risk from the last time, probably, right?
Exactly, and you know, so like we see right now that as a loan officer, you really need to know your guidelines to make a deal work.
Absolutely.
We get deals sometimes rejections from other agents. Hey, you got this deal, and because we're really, like John says, we're stuck in that office. Chris, where am I at every time you go to the office?
Yeah.
I'm glued to that computer
Yeah.
just all the time. And we'll get files where we're like, oh, we can do this. We just have to move this around, do this and this. How many times do we get files like that?
I love those.
Yeah.
It's
like, that's
great.
what
You know, they
now.
come, 1, 2 loan officers couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at
Yeah.
it. Let's work it. And
Absolutely.
sure enough, I mean, we really have a knack for those type of files.
Exactly.
Difficult files where, you know, just something's not quite working.
Yeah.
We have the resources for
Yeah,
those type
we
of
do,
things.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, as an office, we've seen where it's affected the flow of business on a personal level. I mean, I guess because I'm so new in the industry, I've had a better year this year than I did last year,
Love it.
naturally. So because just, I think, short time frame and me pushing, it should go in that direction. But it's been tough, especially about mid-November when rates hit 7%. You felt that freeze happen, and everyone who would come into the office, title reps, escrow reps, they would tell us, you know, what's going out there,
Yeah, they
what's
see
going
it.
on in the market, and everyone kind of feels the same thing. So it's been an interesting year, and I, you know, kind of just going back to what was being discussed with 2008.
Yeah.
That's helped a lot.
Absolutely. You're
Well,
around
hearing
it. You're
those
around
Well,
it.
one of the things
Yeah.
I share with them, because
Yeah.
my mistake in 2008, right? My mistake was I learned loans in the subprime market. That's all I knew.
That's all you need to say.
That's all I knew.
That's all you
That's
need
all
to
I
say.
knew.
Is that crazy?
I didn't even
So you
know.
need to know much.
No.
So-
Take a payment, all this shit.
So what happened, and this is what I explained to them, and I think you may agree with this, is that when the market crashed, there was still business out there.
Yeah, I remember.
However, a lot of us on this side, all we knew was subprime.
Absolutely.
So we hurt. And guess what? But had we known regular conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA,
Yeah,
we would have survived.
Yeah,
we
and
would have survived.
It's funny you say that.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I'll admit that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take ownership in that.
Well, the lenders at the time were making it just sell these
So
products.
easy.
Just do the subprime. You got to work, no paperwork. no-
Exactly.
So no paperwork. Here you go.
insane.
Close the
Yeah, I
loan.
can't believe
They
that. I
were
can't.
pushing that on people.
So-
I didn't know that side of the business.
Yeah, no, see, that was horrible. So then one of the things because before the market started taking a dump, when John came to work for me, what was the first thing I tell you? John, you need to learn all this stuff because if the market turns for the worst, the ones that know everything are going to survive.
Yeah.
You got to know all that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, but but I'm assuming that there's a lot of loan officers out there that are hurting going back
Yeah.
to work.
Absolutely.
Because they
They're selling
haven't
solar
been
now.
taught.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't
That's
been
what I'm
taught.
seeing.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean,
you're right because
different solar
I've-
companies, and I'm like, oh, what'd you do? Oh, I used to sell loans 3 months ago.
Yeah, and so I made it a point in our office and everybody in there, you need to learn this
Yeah.
because this is where, and this was before this year. This was before the rates jump up. Because my thing was like, don't get caught with your pants down. Learn all this stuff because what's going to make you stand out from everybody else is that if the market tanks, you're going to know everything.
Yeah, you're gonna be ready to
You're
go.
gonna be ready to go. And you know what? I mean, I gotta say, in our office, our LOs, yeah, their production's dropped, but they're still there full time.
Yeah, I agree.
still
I
there
see
full-time.
everybody. I go in
Oh,
there.
yeah, you go in
I
there.
go in there
You
just
see
to look. I'll see who
Yeah.
dropped out. And shit, nobody's dropped off.
Yeah, nobody's dropped
I
off there.
walked down the
Yeah.
hall.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, everybody's here.
no,
So
we're
that's
in
a
there
good sign.
And Vicky will come in or Juan comes in. George, I got this deal. Pull up a chair. Let's see what we can
Yeah,
do.
yeah, let's
And
find
how many
solutions
times we
to-
put it together?
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I mean, I think like 95% of the deals that come in, we figured out.
Yeah, you find a way.
We find a way. We don't give up.
really good.
You know, we'll spend hours. I mean, how many times we spent on a remember Vicky's deal? Like, we spent 3 or 4 hours, all of us did, together as a team, and we got it to work.
Yeah.
Because it was already going to get denied.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
done.
It was dead.
Yeah.
How much extra do you guys charge her for that? Man, that's time. Hey, excuse me, extra 5%.
But you know what? And I think this is coming from broker side.
Yeah.
I make sure my team gets paid.
Yeah,
Because
you're always good about that.
I always put my team before.
Yeah.
Always, and I always will. John, George, Vicky, everybody on my team, they need to get paid first.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I'll
like
figure
that.
my stuff out later.
Yeah.
But they come first.
Yeah.
And they know that.
Yeah.
They
It's
know
true.
That they come first.
It's really true because I mean, just how you said, conventional FHA, VA. I mean, our bread and butter. I came in, rates were super low, had this high volume, busy all the time.
Yeah.
But the constant reminder, this isn't going to be forever.
Yeah.
Be ready, be on top of it. This year, we're still there every day, no half days. We go in, we hustle, but we're doing different types of loans, non-QM, bank statement programs, DSCRs. I mean, and taking on new programs for the conventional stuff, 2-1 buy downs. I mean, we are attacking
Absolutely.
and adapting.
Every angle.
Adapting, yeah.
We
That's
call
one
it-
thing. What used to change.
Yeah, we call it the
Yes.
Marine approach, right? The
Yeah.
Marines improvise.
Yeah.
And if you're not
Well,
improvising,
We see you, Chris. I mean,
Yeah.
what I always say about Chris.
Much
This
admiration.
year, Chris, you're out there marketing.
yeah.
What I always say about Chris.
A lot of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marketing.
See,
Because it's hard. Well, I'll tell you what. You got me to finally go to a network.
Yeah.
I
love it.
You know, and
I think a lot of us.
Yeah.
like
We
you
didn't
got us
realize
to
how
go
much that
to
kind of
the
like sped up the process.
exactly
All
like
the
we went to
things.
Keller Williams.
Yeah.
That was my first time really going out in the world out there,
Yeah.
because I've always been stuck in my little cave over there.
Yeah.
And I was about to cancel.
Yeah.
And I said no. I made a commitment to Chris.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll tell you what, man. Like I gained a lot of weight. I only have one pair
All
of
of us.
slacks, and I was like,
All of us, bro.
my clothes doesn't fit me. So I was a best man for my friend's wedding. And I
Yeah.
said, oh, wait a minute, I do
I
have
have
one
those,
pair of
yeah.
slacks.
I remember you said that, bro.
I go, I'm gonna try these on. And I'll be like,
I
hey,
remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
Too. Like I never dress up. I never wear
never,
slacks.
but I admire you. I admire
Yeah.
you because it takes a like.
Oh,
it
I'm
takes
drained.
A lot. Like
I'm
I'm
beat.
scared. Like even this,
I'm beat.
I was nervous. Like
No, you were, bro. I called you. I don't know. I texted. I said, George, I need you to handle this. Like I'm completely bombarded, and that's my biggest weakness, right? My biggest weakness as an individual is I don't know how to ask for help. I don't know how to lay off some of my duties on other people, you know. And so when you relieved a big, you just like I make it happen. Boom, boom, boom.
Exactly.
Perfect. I feel better.
And for me, it's
I
like,
loved it.
Like I know I can make things happen in that area, and I figured, okay, I like working with teams.
Yeah.
And this is my first venture, just so
Yeah.
everybody knows.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's with you.
Yeah.
So that when I said, Chris,
Love it.
we're ready to go there. And when you said handle it, I'm gonna handle it.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll never make a
Everything.
decision by myself.
Yeah. No,
Have you
you're
noticed?
good.
I say, hey Chris, look, I came up with some names.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's always a team thing all the time.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
yeah.
You know I say.
No jumping bunny.
Well, no, I say this because Tanya comes from an operations view. You know, she came in here. We had her come in and look at the operations and strictly behind the scenes, right? And then we started scaling the company. And like I said, what I say my biggest weakness is I don't know how to ask for help when it comes to stuff. And we hired, I think we have 3 people now over there, plus Tanya. And she's like, just let me handle it. So she handled it. But now we're at the point where scaling, now I'm having to assign account executives. So now I have to build AEs. Like you guys have your AE guys call, right? So I'm like, Tanya, you're going to be the first AE. You know, she's now assigned to Willie's group. We have a contract with him. So she's assigned to, he's got 11 loan officers. And so now she's coming from the operations side. And now we're trying to teach her the other side. And we always say like you just said, like the easy part, it's not easy, but because you have a full staff, but the easy part is when the file comes in, right? But how the hell do you get these files in?
Exactly.
You know, that's the drain. So she had the operations handling everything behind the scenes, and now she's going to be having to deal with all these different personalities. But,
I know.
You know, kind of tell us your background, because you come from the medical field.
Yes, I actually I worked as a HR administrator for about 16 years with the same doctor. He's a radiologist. He used to have his own practice, and just little by little, you know, with time changing, he sold his business. So now I still work for him. Part-time. Well, actually full-time, but
Yeah, but she's up late. She's up late working on his stuff. Yeah.
And I love learning. I love
That's what it is.
I'm a fast learner, and I learn by watching, by seeing, and by actually doing the things. So
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, and now I'm learning commercial and just going out there and meeting new people, networking. That's all new to me because you're in an office all day.
Yeah.
8 hours. Okay, I'm done. Go home. I have 3 kids, so it's just going home, dealing with the kids, going practices, doing that, and now it's like it's different because you have to go out there, talk to different businesses, different, and I see his hustle. I see his hard work, and like I said, I have the best teacher.
And he raises the bar high, right?
Yes,
the bar's high.
Yes, it's very high.
Even being his friend, I'm like, oh, when Chris calls me, I'm like, oh, okay. How high that bar gonna be?
Yes.
He does.
But
and he's very competitive, but so am I. So it's like, I'm like, okay, so I have to beat him. I have to be better than him.
Well, she's disciplined, I say it like, obviously like you, like we've gained, I've gained a ton of weight, and, she's religious with the gym, and that's, her focus. She's, no matter what, she'll go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. She's up at 5 o'clock, 4 to 5 days a week. She's at the gym. And,
it's my happy place. The gym is my happy place. Yeah. Like, I don't like going out. That's my time, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, my point is she's disciplined about that. So that's you see that, and then she brings discipline here, and so you like you guys, you have a good team that you've built, right? And so it's good to have her with the journey that we're really trying to scale the shit out of the company right now, and it's very difficult.
It is.
It is.
Because
isn't it kind of like because you're scaling, you're working, and at the same time you're trying to implement.
Yeah.
Like implement a system. But it's so hard.
I still got to make money. Like I still got to close deals.
Exactly.
I've got to. We've got a large deal. Finally, we've been working on for 2 years. A construction. A finance deal, $5 million that for ground up construction. That we just got approval yesterday. Finally, 2 years. Now, I didn't make a penny for 2 years, but our company takes on the whole project management. So we hire the whole team to get from engineers to design for everything for our client. So managing that, building the business, scaling the company, and then like, shit, man, I gotta close some deals.
No, I also see this year you traveled a lot to a lot of events.
That's been my focus.
Yeah.
January of 2022, I said, hey, I'm gonna attend at least 6 events this year. I'm gonna network, and if I get one deal from them, then it's worth it because it costs you $5,000-$6,000 a pop every time you go with everything, right? And so it's worked in that manner, and we've made good. We have good context and good. We see our vision, and our vision is in the. We want to be in front of business owners. We're working with business owners right now, and just yesterday, new revenue opportunities, new investments. How are you going to grow? How are you going to expand? Every business owner that's coming in for the next 2 weeks, that's what we're doing. We're plotting a course for them, and so that's why I ask you, like, hey, what are you doing for marketing? You're like, I don't do anything. It just comes. Well, that's a great model.
And you'll know, it's hard to say no to Chris. It's hard to say no. I can say no, but...
And he'll be he's very persistent.
Very persistent. But
until he gets in his way.
But it's funny the way he's persistent. I love the way Chris persistent. Come on, bro. Like, bro.
What are you waiting?
Like, what are you waiting for? Like, he's not pushing, but he calls you out in a very nice way.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you like,
okay,
Chris,
you're
right.
Yes.
We're good, right?
Yeah.
I get that.
And it's funny because Chris comes to the office, and like this year we didn't see him as much as last year, but anytime he comes to the office, it's just like the vibe, just it goes up, the energy just goes up, and it's like.
Well, it's funny you say that. My mom says that when I was young, and that they would put the lock on the outside of the door and lock me in the room because my energy was so high, and they would let me just bounce off the walls inside.
Yeah, no, and that
are you done? And then they would unlock it and let me out.
But it's true. Like we love, like when we see Chris, because we'll see him first walk.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And then
everybody.
Mostly Sandra's like, oh, here comes Chris, and then everybody's like, oh, right, cool. Like,
let's go.
Well,
his work wife is Sandra.
Yeah, my work wife is Sandra. Yeah, so she's like,
she's no joke.
She's no joke. Well, she gets mad. Sometimes I'll be like, I don't know, so it'll be kind of upset.
Well, it was good to see her at the event too, because Sandra's very quiet, but she's got a great heart, but she's very precise on what she wants too.
And what I do gotta say, she really protects me a lot. Like, she won't let people go through phone calls, and she'll screen them.
Absolutely,
and,
she is good.
And I'll be like, oh no, it's cool. Okay. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's awesome. You know, she's awesome, but she's very like you're right. She's she's to the T.
Well, I want to hear like, so what are you doing what are your visions for next year, George? And then we'll go John. I want to hear everybody's like, what are you planning to do next year? Because obviously it's going to be a challenge. In my opinion, I think, and strictly in my opinion, we're going to hit a hard recession at the end of March or right at the beginning of the second quarter. Strictly my opinion, but I'm seeing the credit markets tighten, and that's what I look at daily. So, like, what are you doing to make sure that you're not completely affected by it from a marketing standpoint? What are your visions for next year? Talk to us.
So one thing that I've been lacking on that I get hounded for a lot is my marketing.
I agree.
Now,
Granted,
I feel like I do gotta jump on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I take advantage of a lot of the referrals that I get from them. So a lot of the LOs in the office, since I'm really the only agent that works there, I get a lot of the work through them.
Nice benefit.
And so it's been nice, and it's been keeping everything consistent for me. But I do want to kind of like take it to that next level. So next year, one of the things that I do want to try to jump on is my marketing.
Okay, well,
put that on the list.
I'm going to put that
on
the
list. We're going to hold them accountable. This time, and we're going to hold them accountable. Okay?
Well, so that's the case. So we're out there marketing to loan officers, right? And we're building our company, we're building through them. So they're going to be under their own name, First Premium Financial. They're going to have their own loan officers, but now they're going to be able to offer commercial finance services. So we're going all through California for loan companies. It would be a pleasure to bring you along because you do the real estate, and these guys that we're going to and networking with, we're only going to residential loan officers. And you being in front of them, if we can add to your vision with that, you're saying you want to get out there, and George going to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
We're going to hold you accountable. We're going to invite you to all our events, which is good. I see you at the last two events, which has been awesome.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing. I mean, you kind of like started, or you put that motivation in me to start going out there.
Absolutely.
Like tonight, I'm going to the LPN event out in downtown LA.
You are, yeah. I was gonna go.
So I got invited by another social media agent that I talked to.
Nice.
And so I haven't met him.
Good for you.
But he's been inviting me. I'm like, you know what, man, I got to take advantage and go try it out. As shy as I am and stuff like that, man, I figured that's
you are
something I gotta
shy.
break.
Yeah, he is shy.
Yeah.
I got chewed out yesterday because I was too shy to come do this today.
Oh, that's why he came out.
No, but it was a bad chew out.
We were waiting too. We were like, hey, George didn't tell us that. He just
I'm surprised
he's
I got
looking
here
for
before
you.
John. I thought John was going to do it before me.
Well, you're lucky because Chris, what did I say?
If they don't come, they're completely cut off.
We're supposed to meet at the office. I'm there.
Yeah. Push me out there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
I seen you at the Keller Williams event. I seen you down at EXP again in Irvine.
His social media too.
Social media. He needs to get a little bit better with that, but he's getting good.
What happened? What happened a couple days ago?
I need one post a day from you. But but having said that,
he was overthinking.
Don't just do it.
And I'm
the same way.
Because one thing I did learn about like John, and I tell him, go, John, people love you. Yeah. And he stopped overthinking because we have these fat loss challenges, right? Yeah. And so one of the things a year ago, I would tell John, you need to be more you need to engage more and stuff because he doesn't. Well, he does now. You need to start engaging. Yeah. You don't let people get to know you. You really don't. So he started engaging, and remember the thread we used to have because you were in it.
Yeah.
So John started engaging.
Yeah, I see that.
And some of the people that were in the challenge, their spouses. When we were testing the last date, one of the spouses would say like, "Oh my God, I love John." She don't even know him, and she was like, "I love his videos. I love watching him."
Well, you know what he's saying there, right? You need to use that to your advantage.
Exactly.
From a marketing
Absolutely right.
Because he's very like. Yeah, when you get to know John, he's a big teddy bear.
Yes.
Well, we were all in Vegas at the national EXP event, and there were a couple of loan officers. Mark Viana was there with us, right? But he was hitting all the residential realtors there, and there were like 7,000 EXP agents there. So you need, you're already doing it, but I would recommend that you add that in your vision.
I really do need to do more consistently. And that conversation that George and I had like about a year ago, Big George, Big George, that we had about a year ago. It's true. I mean, I normally take a moment to open up. I remember living with George, and he would come home and he'd be like, like in my face, like, even with people I know, always take them. When I walk in the room, I'm very quiet. I'm very serious to myself, it takes me just a couple minutes.
Okay,
and
that's fair.
Now I feel I'm reducing that. I'm trying to get rid of that part of taking too much time to open up. So I've been trying to expose myself, going to more events, meeting more people, and that is a big emphasis that I want to do for 2023 is meet more people. Have a goal of how many realtors I'm meeting,
Absolutely.
how many realtors I'm talking to on a daily basis. Consistently posting on my social media, Instagram.
Realtors are weird though, bro. Realtors won't take your call.
Yeah.
But they'll get your text. I got one here. Sorry.
George,
He's an exception to the rule.
He is. You're an outlier, bro.
He calls me, but I ignore him.
On the opposite side.
Yeah, he calls me, and I'm like, God, what does he want? I already
I'm
work
just
with
gonna
him.
switch my name to John, so that way when I call
He
him,
does that, sir. Just get his phone.
What can I say?
But one thing that I tell them, Chris, and to be honest with you, you got me to think this way. You did, and I owe a lot of this to you. Is that the biggest mistake I've made in the 22 years is not network. And before I would go to functions and hang out with people, and I was telling them the story that the last function I kind of went with friends and all that was New Year's Eve in 2020, and we met. Well, actually, my wife met the lady, and they hit it off and all that, and they really good, and she ended up doing a refinance with us. Challenging fun, but we got it to close, and that was the last time I actually started going out, and I regret doing that, like stopping from going out and networking. I regret it because, and any other agent that's listening out here, get out there, get out there and meet people, talk to people. I regret that. I've sheltered myself. I've never, I've gone to NARA probably twice, and I'm talking about 15 years ago.
And he doesn't like to travel.
I don't like to travel.
He went to Colombia last year?
I think it was like last year. Yes, last year.
Right? Was it?
Well, we go frequently. I go
I didn't know
once
that.
or twice a year.
He'll never tell you he's going. I hear it through his work wife, Sandra, and then I hear like day 2, Chris, he's miserable. I was like, oh man, okay.
You know what? I think a lot about that, and I think the reason is that, and I think I shared this with you, John, is that I really enjoy. I love my life here. I really do. I have a pretty good, I go ride on Saturdays. I give myself so many hours. I enjoy being with my friends. Like, that's my social life. I go out there and ride. We have lunch.
I'm going to hang out with you more.
No,
I'm
He's started
serious.
riding cycling, by the way.
Yeah, cycling.
Because
riding
he went to
bikes.
Harley earlier.
You won't come with us. I try to get you.
I'm not dumb.
It's pain.
I convinced Kurt came with me last week.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but also like coming to the office, I enjoy coming to the office. I enjoy, even though it's hectic sometimes, even when there's really nothing to do in these times, we're still there brainstorming of what we want to do. So, for example, like next year, my goal is to do a lot more networking. Really go out there and meet agents.
Write it down. We're gonna hold him out.
Just so you know.
I'm gonna send you guys an email after
Oh,
this.
just so you know, like I already signed up for NARA.
Yeah.
Even my wife.
Did you really?
Yes, I already did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You wanna come in? Talk to some people?
Still going?
Yeah. You wanna come in? Wanna meet people?
After you sign my
Come on, Raul. You got to say hi over here. Just really quick and say hi.
Thank you.
Cookies.
Butter cookies.
You don't want to say hi?
They were out for coffee, but there was no budget for cookies.
Thank you, Raul. I appreciate that. So this year is really a lot more networking.
Yeah.
Getting out there to get to know people. And like I said, I regret the mistake I made in the past 22 years. I have a list, and the biggest mistake I did in my networking list is that once I got to 100, 110, I started eliminating people. And I realized if I would have kept everybody on that list, I probably would have about 300, 400 people.
True.
And that was my biggest mistake. You see my birthdays, every month, at the beginning of the month, I send birthday cards. And I just started that like 5 years ago. And that's another thing I always tell everybody.
It's a hit.
Look,
It is.
Absolutely.
it's a lot of work.
Personal touch.
Because I send about 20 birthday cards a month. Gift cards, stuff. I have to sit there and write every single thing by hand.
Yeah.
And I don't have the best handwriting in the world. Even spelling, I'm horrible at spelling.
Yeah.
And I'll misspell something and I'll cross it out there. Oops.
Yeah.
Like people are going to see who I really am.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
And I recommend that to anybody. Do those little simple things. Because even if you're just an agent, just with that alone, I would be okay if I didn't have an office. I'd definitely be okay, you know. But I share my deals. Like I'll do very little deals, but I give some to John, I give some to George.
Yeah, it's amazing talking to you guys, talking to business owners, because you guys are all business owners within your own dream. The guy that just walked through the door, and I just want to make mention of him because I talk about my mentors. He tries to tell me I'm his mentor. All the time he tries to say that, but he's one of my mentors, and he's one of the guys that's been in my circle. And I have 4 people that are in my circle to this day, right? And he happens to be one of them. But he owns this building, and when he came to buy the building, kind of like you thought he was a guy.
I thought it was.
He came and he opened and closed escrow within 5-6 days. But he was came around, look at the building, and everybody thought he was a janitor, a maintenance guy. Everybody's like, "Hey, you see the maintenance guy?" And people were rude to him. Tenants were rude to him.
The first time I met him, the first time I met him, Chris, because he goes, "Oh, you look familiar." I go, "Well, yeah," because that's when they were doing the protest, and remember they were protesting the what's it, George Floyd stuff.
Yeah,
so remember there was, and people started boarding up.
Yeah.
And I saw him.
Yes.
And I said, "Excuse me, you know what? How much do you charge to board this up? Because I didn't get my office boarded up."
He's held it against you since.
And he's all like, "I don't do this.
Yes.
You know, you get your own management or get your own order. I'm doing this for my building." I'm like, "Oh, sorry." So when he goes, "You look familiar," I go, "Yeah, you told me to screw off." But you're right. Yeah, he looks extremely like you would never guess.
He's been buying real estate, and eventually when we get to all the business owners, but I'm blessed to be able to being around him every day, right? Travel with him, we do business together, we own stuff together, and he's been buying real estate since he's 18 years old. Yeah. High school education only. Wow. He used to go. He started in the shoe business. He would sell Vans. He would go to the swap meets, go to the high schools. 17 years old, and then built that into a very, very successful real estate business. Probably owns over $100 million worth of real estate.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's the people that we get to meet by being in the field, and just talking to people, and in the elevator, just knowing what people do.
And,
And
what you just said right now, and so anybody that's listening to this is like you, Chris. I mean, you're since day one I met you just talk to everybody.
Yeah,
and that goes to show your success.
Yeah,
build relationships.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, it's like, anytime I need something. Hey, Chris, do you know anybody that does this? Oh, yeah, here's my boy.
No, he doesn't. Sandra texts.
Oh, yeah, Sandra, that's right.
George needs this. George needs that.
John, do this.
Yeah.
Sandra, send this text.
See? Tell the truth.
It's not like he doesn't text me directly.
Tell George to bring lunch.
Yeah.
Like she's, "Hey, are you going to go to your dad's Christmas thing on Friday?" I'm like, "How come you just text me?"
Oh my God, isn't that funny?
I'm like, I want a little more personal.
I mean, any business owner that I've met in Whittier, they know you.
Yeah, they do.
They know you.
Do.
And I'm never surprised.
I make it a point. Part of when I got in this business, I said, look, I call it a guerrilla campaign of how I do my marketing. I do it from inside out. So I do it from my home base here. I've been leasing in this building since 2000. And I'm, started in the little tiny 100 square foot office. But I build it from the outside, inside out. So I just, I got to know everybody. And then, Pico and Santa Fe Springs. And that's how I do it. Yeah. And so that's just my belief in regards to that. But how are we doing on time on that camera?
Are we?
We've been rolling.
Okay, no, but are we good on time?
Okay.
We'll just end up, just kind of just saying, this obviously this is just our first time, and we all just love talking. Building the dream. We all want to know what people are doing to build their dream, how they came about, who they are today. If you want to add to that a little bit.
And here's I think like our particular group here, building the dream, build it with network.
Absolutely.
Build it together, because one person you can't really build. You need a team.
Yeah.
And like I think what we're doing here is awesome. Is awesome. I mean, this is the first time I'm venturing with somebody outside my organization. But technically you're not.
Nah, we're all one.
You're not. Like we're two different companies. However, we look at each other as like brothers. So it's
the
awesome.
goal is the same.
The goal is the same.
Yeah.
There's plenty of wealth. There's no type of competition. If anything, we help each other out.
Correct.
Always.
George always says using different vehicles. We're all in different vehicles. We all have different emphasis within our parts. But, I mean,
the goal's
the
the
destination
same.
And the support that, George supports me on a daily basis. Chris, every time I see him, always positive.
Yeah.
positive outlook on what I'm doing, encouragement to do it more. I appreciate that. And I mean, I'm really excited about what you guys are doing, and definitely thank you guys.
And to add one more thing, we believe in always growing together as a team, right? So Lewis, young
Lewis,
kid, right?
welcome.
Young kid. Is this the first time Lewis, you're doing something like this? Is this your first time like doing it for like a group?
For a group, yeah, I do it with my friends for my own.
But this is different, right?
It's very. This is the thing I watched. That's the cool thing. That I watched this on the internet, on podcasts. And hearing it live is like very, very surreal.
So like a really short thing.
Gave me the chills.
Like Lewis used to work for us at the restaurant. My wife loves this kid. I mean, she's like, I mean, everything. Like everywhere we want to go, we want to always include Lewis. There it is. And he gets chewed out too. Yeah, he does.
No one's safe.
Nobody's safe around, right, Chris? Nobody's safe.
No
You're gonna be in our circle. You're gonna get chewed out. But we do it. We don't. We chew you out, or we kind of tell you things because we know what it's like. We've been many years in the business.
All of our good friends.
Yeah, and we want to see all of all you guys grow. So if we see you guys that maybe you're making a mistake or you're not doing something, we're gonna call you out on it. Not because we want to belittle you, it's because we want you to grow quickly. We don't want you to take 22 years, right?
Yeah, no way.
Why not do it in 3 years?
I have a young kid that I started just mentoring that I met through Keller Williams. I guess he showed up at the event, right? And they introduced him to me, and he's very eager. Beaver has an accounting degree, which is freaking hard. He's 24 too, right? And you just see these young kids. You got the vision and the fire, and we love it. So I mean, if we're gonna be able to believe us, we're gonna be pushing you. We're gonna have your phone number. We're gonna get you taking videos of buildings now. We're gonna get you. So you're coming along with the ride.
You're coming along with the ride. Guess what? You're gonna be building the dream too.
There you go.
And we're gonna take you on that, Lewis. And one of our, I'll tell you right now, my part, I'm pretty sure, is we want to get you out of your job and get you into your dream full time. That's our goal, and whatever we can do, we're gonna do.
The kid that I'm telling you about, he's quitting his accounting job at the 30th is his last day. He's completely walking away from me. He has an accounting degree. He's walking away. He's coming full time now, and so I'm scared because now I know we gotta get some business for him.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, shoot, he quit.
So yeah, I just want to recognize Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely.
And deep down inside, Lewis, he also. He has a lot on his plate. He's his care. He takes care of his grandmother, young kid, and he took on that responsibility. And and Lewis is
means even more to us.
Yeah,
family, more. Absolutely,
100% family guy. And we've seen with the short period of time that my wife is very close to him because he was my wife's right hand. So she's extremely close. But I got the chance to see Lewis and he's hardworking and he struggles like we all did at the beginning. And so. This is the thing, Lewis, that we're going to take you with us 100%.
Along with all that, we're going to make you get your real estate license. So if you heard this, your loan license. So we're going to what are the emails? She's going to get your email. You're going to send you the links.
So you're going to be with us through this journey.
We're
going to.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So all right, guys. Well,
thank you.
It was
thank
great.
You for everything. Yeah.
Guys, thank you. And tune out into our next show.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Our next show, we'll figure it out when it happens. So.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.